Hi guys, good morning.
We're just laughing about who might be able to reach the record button on the phone.
I got T-Rex arms.
And I'm
really
a little more flexible so I can lean forward.
Flexible. Keyword.
Flexible.
Keyword. Flexible.
In all areas, physically and mentally.
So yeah, we usually do videos outside, but the weather is crazy. The temperature is supposed to drop this weekend in the 20s or below 30s or something like that. And 20s. The winds are supposed to be from 30 miles per hour to 50 miles per hour. So,
so here we are filming inside.
Yeah, so we're inside looking out, and we even have our dogs inside. As soon as I opened the door, they were like ready to go outside, and they stopped. They're like,
They're like, no, it's much nicer inside.
It's nice inside. It's nice and warm. We got the fireplace going, or our wood stove. That's what we have. And so it's nice and cozy inside. And
that thing is like our main, it's basically our heater for the house because we don't have like a gas furnace. And so when it gets, it's okay when it's not too crazy cold, but when it gets like in the 30s or whatever, it can only heat up so much.
Yeah.
So otherwise we're blowing like cold air into the house.
Yeah.
But the wood stove, when it's cranking, I'll get this place up to like 80, and then we have to open doors because we overdid it.
Yeah, like, oh my God, it's cold. Then it's, just too much heat. But this is why we're inside for today and possibly for the rest of the winter. Who knows?
If it's cold, it's okay, but the wind, like...
Yeah, the wind. It's a bad hair day.
And then you wouldn't be able to hear us anyways, which...
Yeah.
Some people would say is probably a good thing.
So,
yeah. We were talking today about, like, how we first met all those years ago.
Yeah. It was crazy. I remember being in the military. I loved diving. I was in the Navy, and I loved being in the water. It was just something that being underwater was one of my favorite things. It just like eliminated all human noise, every type of noise. And it was my peace and quiet. It was just somewhere my tranquility. I loved it. Seeing all kinds of things underwater is so beautiful. It's just a whole nother world. And a lot of divers will agree with that they're just a whole different world, and it's so peaceful. So I decided one day, I think there was a shop here in town called Dive Quest Scuba. Now we live in the desert, and a lot of people say, well, where do you dive in the desert? But
well, you don't. You learn to dive here, but you go somewhere else with water.
Yeah.
To the tropics or.
So I decided I want to do recreational diving, and so I went there. Been there for 2-3 weeks. Got to know the owner. We got along really well and everything. And in his office, it was a two-way mirror. People come on, try their masks on, and that way he can see who's, keeping an eye on the store. It was just a store with dive equipment and stuff. And it would face the front door. And we were in there talking about diving places and all kinds of cool stuff. And when Sue walked in, I was in love. Very first day, I was just like so in love. I was like, it was like something that just hit me, and I was like, I couldn't speak. I couldn't. Everything I said was just not coming out right after that. I was fumbling. I was stumbling. I was banging onto things, and she came in for a class, and so
that he was in.
Yeah, that I was in already, and it was fun. And so Richard Potter, his name was Richard Potter, but we called him Punky. That's what his name, and that's another story there. And so he had paired us because I didn't need a partner, but everybody else did. And so he paired us together.
Well, it's not that he didn't need one. It's that there were 5 people in the class. There were 2 couples, and then there was Ray. And so part of recreational diving, I don't know about military, but you always dive with a buddy. You don't scuba dive alone. And when I came into the the dive shop, I had no idea. You know, I wanted to get certified. Dad and I, we were going to Palau. My dad's a Marine veteran, was in World War II, and Peleliu, which is part of the Palau Island group, was the last island that he fought on before he was injured in World War II. And so we were preparing to go for the 55th, I think, anniversary tour of the landing.
Was that a Tiger Cruise?
No, that's something different. And so we were planning on going that. It was September 15th was the landing day on Peleliu. And it was August when I went to the dive shop because I thought, well, I'll learn how to scuba dive. You know, we're going to stop in Hawaii on the way back, and, you know, maybe I can dive while we there. You know, we wanted like some time for him to recuperate just mentally and physically. It's a long journey, a long trip out there. And so I thought, oh, okay, I'll learn scuba diving. There's literally one scuba shop in town. And so when I went there, it was, I think the class had already started. They were about halfway through. And he was like, well, I mean, it was the only way I could get certified in time for the trip. So, you know, he offered to let me join. He'd catch me up. And yeah, so there was 2 other couples, and then there was Ray. And so he paired me up with Ray. Mr. I don't need a partner. And
I dive alone.
Yeah, pretty much. And it's always funny for me to hear him recount like when he first saw me, because when I first started talking to him, like he would barely look at me. He didn't really talk to me.
I had
like,
my dark shades on.
Yeah, he'd have like dark sunglasses on. He wasn't really like, I mean, he was like nice, but he wasn't all friendly and, you know,
yeah, I had
chit-chatty. He just seemed kind of grouchy and like standoffish. So, and I was already nervous, you know, like coming into a class, everybody knew each other.
Well,
so it was all nerve-wracking for me.
When we were in class, I had my shades on because she was on my left side, and with my shades, like say if I had my shades on, I could look over here, but just stare at her, and that's the way it pretty much like, wow, what?
And me, I'm like clueless because I'm like freaked out, trying to like jump in and learn everything, and you know, and then kind of realizing how serious scuba is. There's a lot of safety issues, you know, you like mess up, you can die kind of thing. So it was like, oh crap, this is a lot more than I thought. But anyway, you know, I jumped in with like all 4 feet, and then the first pool session, oh gosh, we were at a place here that doesn't, they're not open any longer, but they had a really deep pool that was perfect for scuba. So, I mean, it had to be like, what, 15 feet deep or something?
Yeah, something like that.
It was really cool. And
18. It was 18 feet. Was it 18? 15 or 18, something like that.
It was deeper
deep.
than
It was deep.
It was deep. And so I'm like trying to get the gear on. I'm trying to figure out how to breathe through the regulator because I'm not used to breathing in and out of my mouth. And you have the mask on. You can't breathe through your nose, or your mask gets like stuck to your eyeballs. And and I'm like just trying to get, like I'm floating in the water. Everybody else is in. They're all, you know, down on the bottom. At this point, I'm holding up the entire class because I'm just trying to relax and like get under the water. And I look down, and Ray is at the bottom of the pool. He's on his back. He's got his mask off. He's just like cleaning the inside of the mask, all calm, cool, blowing bubbles, like making shapes, like Gandalf, you know, with the dragon in Lord of the Rings. That's Ray at the bottom of the pool, all relaxed, calm, and like I cannot even get myself underwater. I just thought, man, I don't know if I can do this. Like, what is wrong with me? And he's just, you know, Mr. Cool, like it's all nothing. And we had no idea of his previous military diving experience. So I'm looking at him like this is his second pool session, and I'm jumping in. I'm just like, man, I suck at this. I haven't even started and I suck at this.
But it was fun. And that's how we met.
Eventually, yeah.
And it's been adventures. After that, we just did a lot of, once she got certified, she took off to Palau to go do her diving. And the crazy thing is, in the diving community, Palau is the #1 destination of all diving. It's the #1 destination. Yeah, and you have to work up to it. You go to like Cozumel, you go to lakes, and you go to all these places, Hawaii, all these diving. But the main place is Palau. So once she hit Palau, there's nothing after that.
I was really funny because like unless up to that point, like unless you were a World War II buff, which kind of we knew from the military community, were familiar with Palau and Peleliu. Nobody outside of that I knew had ever even heard of it. They'd never heard of Palau. And so when I told Punk where, like when I first walked in and I kind of explained where we were going and we were going to Peleliu, and he was just like, "You're going to Palau?" And I thought, "You've heard of it?" And he's like, "Oh my God, like this is the premier diving destination. This is like the #1 place on everyone's bucket list."
Yeah.
And so, after certification, which we did in Balmorhea State Park in Texas, there's this nice little oasis in the desert, they call it. My very first dives were in Palau. And pretty much it's been almost all downhill after that.
Pretty much.
But yeah, I mean, the water is spectacular. I mean, it's so cool. It's so close to the equator. It's just very calm, like calm seas. There's not these huge waves. Crystal clear water. I mean, you can see as deep as the light can penetrate. And because the water is so, it's not all rough seas, like you can see just hundreds of feet.
Yeah.
Like huge coral walls. Amazing wall diving. And then the currents bring in this, all this nutrients. And of course that brings in the huge pelagic life, sharks. I mean, huge sunfish. It's just absolutely one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. They have like also the jellyfish lake, which is like the only freshwater lake I think in the world that has jellyfish in it that you can you can't scuba in there, but you can snorkel. I did like Chandelier Cave there, which is like just dives. You can dive down and then come up into air and covers, and then we did 3 cycles of that. We shut off all our lights, and then you can see the sunlight once your eyes adjust. We sat in the cave for a while so our eyes could adjust, and then we'd swim out by just going towards the light. I didn't mean to get so sidetracked, but that was such a spectacular.
Diving is such a cool thing. One of the coolest sports. It's different than a lot of other things, and I loved it because you can actually see things that can't see above ground. I mean, above the water, like on land and stuff. We have dove with manta rays. We did a night dive with manta rays, and that was fun. We dove with dolphins. We dove with what is it? The walruses? No, not walruses.
Oh, the sea lions.
The sea lions.
And that was in Mexico.
That was in Mexico. Oh, we gotta find.
They bark underwater. They're so cute. Well, I mean, I guess technically they were defending. I mean, it's probably not a cute thing, but they had baby seals up on the beach, and we were underwater. We were not above water, like approaching, but we were close enough that they were feeling, they needed to protect their territory. But they would dive down and like bark, bark, bark at us underwater, and all the bubbles would come up from
it was
basically
cool.
Yelling at us.
It was so cute. I never thought they would never been around seals, and they just like barked, and they were huge. When you're in the water, they're huge. I'm like, holy cow. We saw some nurse sharks. We saw some hammerheads. We seen reef sharks. Just reef shark, gray reef tiger sharks.
I've never seen.
I've seen great whites, eels, moray eels.
above land. I've seen.
I've seen more eels.
I almost got bit by one. Remember?
Oh
In
yeah.
Mexico.
There was one time, there was this time Sue and I were diving, and she was doing this to me because there's signals underwater. You know, you can actually do this, and the water's so dense that sound travels.
Right. It's a great way to get attention underwater.
Yeah, and you can hear like whales 5 miles out, and just singing. It's so cool. But there was a time where Sue was trying to get my attention, and she was like doing this, and we had gloves on, and she's doing this, and I'm like looking at her, and I'm like, okay, well, that's a pretty nice mound of coral up there, and she's like, she shakes her head, and she goes like, no, and she goes, and I'm like, don't see what she's pointing, and she's doing this, and then she's doing this, and I'm like, she keeps showing her glove, and I'm like, what are you trying to show me?
And he just kept going like,
yeah, are you
okay?
okay?
Like, okay, great, whatever you're pointing at. Like, I don't,
And
I don't
so,
see it. I just,
and so,
this was in San Carlos. We had just literally, it was a boat dive. We both had just gotten in the water. Ray had gotten in first. I was in right after him. And what I saw was this bioelectric jellyfish, like tiny. It looked like a little umbrella. I don't even know what kind of species it was, but it was umbrella shaped, and you could see like the bioelectric, the lights coming down, like imagine like the ribs of the umbrella. It was just these lights coming down. It was transparent, and it was right in front of my face. I mean, I just got lucky to focus on it, and so I put my glove behind it, my hand, to kind of like help him see what I was pointing at. And I'm like, it's right here. And so, of course, I'm sure to him, obviously, it looked like I'm like pointing at my hand. He thought I was pointing at this huge rock that was, behind me. And I kept trying to like point it out, in 3 dimensions.
and I can't
he
see
just
it.
Thought I was.
I can't see
I
it.
don't know. He was just clearly like, okay, babe, fine. That's wonderful. And so I finally just gave up. I'm like, okay, forget it.
So when we get back on the dive boat, we're like,
what the heck are you?
Yeah, she goes, I see, taking off all the gear, and then he hit me. I go, oh, what were you doing down there? And she goes, I was trying to show you the little jellyfish that was so small. And I go, oh, I didn't see that at all. I'm like, oh,
yeah, obviously.
I'm blind as a bat on the water. But I didn't see it. I didn't see it.
That was funny. But it was really cute. I've never forgotten it. And I've always kind of wondered what species that was. I've kind of tried to look it up, not, seriously researching, but every now and again I'll try to figure out what kind of jellyfish that was. And it was the kind that Ray can't see.
Yeah. We went to another time we went diving. It was in Mexico, and it was called Zorro Cove, where they filmed the movie Zorro, parts of it. But there was a time when we were done diving, and Richard said, hey, can we borrow your kayak? We had everything set up on. He goes, yeah. So we took the kayak out. First time we tried to put our dive gear in there, and it's like kept tipping over the kayaks. We're like, nah, let's just forget it. Let's just go kayaking. And so we went kayaking, and I was messing with Sue because I was like, oh, she was in front paddling. I'm in the back paddling, and this area was known for great whites.
It's the Sea of Cortez. So, I mean, they see great white sharks there, and, that's enough for me to be like, okay, we got to be careful. So we're paddling out, and we're trying not to, we're trying to keep the kayak in, so the waves are coming in this way, and we're trying to keep the kayak, heading out into the waves. And then Ray's like, I don't know what he cut his hand on something, and it's like dripping blood, and he's like, oh, I don't want to hold it, but he's like holding out his hand over the side of the boat to like drip blood into the water. And I'm like, what are you doing? I'm just imagining all these sharks coming in, and like, so sense blood and, can detect blood. And this guy is trying to give me a heart attack.
So
And he's just laughing hysterically.
let's-
And then we almost flip over because we're like trying to turn, and then the waves are coming up against the side of the boat. And of course, he's having the time of his life, just freaking me out.
I'll save you.
Yeah. You'll punch the shark on the nose?
Yes, punch the shark in the nose.
Mm-hmm.
You want a shark tooth?
Yeah, shark bait. Ooh-ha-ha.
Yeah. So that's how we met. We in our ventures started from there, where we became videographers for some of the divers. I mean, for some of the instructors
The classes,
here.
yeah. So we film the classes or film their certifications and make videos and stuff for them, and
put them on CDs, and then we give it to them, and they were just like had so much fun.
it was a lot of fun.
And then from that point, one of our friends, his name was Jamie Dryden, and he was teaching at NMSU, and he was giving that up, and he had asked us, if you get your instructor's license, you can take over the classes. So we did. We got our instructor classes, and that's how we met Jay, one of my best friends. He became my best man when Sue and I got married, and we got our instructor class license certifications, and before you know it, we were teaching at NMSU. Is one of the best times we've ever had. It was so much fun to just like have fun with the kids, have fun with it's just so much fun. It was just
a lot of fun.
And I couldn't remember any of their names.
For real.
Yeah, I couldn't.
Everybody got a nickname, and we heard later, because he could remember everybody's nickname,
right?
But he couldn't remember their actual given names. And we later we learned, like, we're still friends with a lot of our students, and it's been great to see them just like grow up. They're more grown up now, and they have kids of their own. And but we found out later that they weren't worried about the classes, they weren't worried about the certifications, but they were just dreading like whatever nickname was going to be given to them, which I totally get. But for them, that was like the scariest part of the class, was like, oh gosh, what is their nickname going to be?
Yeah.
But I think we tried really hard to not have it be something that would be,
crazy,
embarrassing, or, we weren't trying to humiliate them. It was just kind of like a loving nickname of something funny they did or said, or like this one kid kept falling asleep in class, and so we nicknamed him Dozer.
Yeah, Dozer. Oh, what was his name? Aaron? No, what was
Ariel.
Ariel. He's always
he can't remember his real name.
He was in class, and we were getting ready for tests, and and Sue's teaching the class. She's on the board, and I kept looking at the students, and one of them was like, and he finally fell asleep like that, and I told the class, and it got quiet. He was just snoring away.
It was so funny.
And everybody just starts laughing. Finally, he goes, looks at her.
Everyone's looking at him. He's like, what?
So we ended up calling him Dozer. So, and it's just like nicknames like that. That was so much fun, And the classes and all the students, we had the most. We had every class filled and we had a waiting list, which was really crazy. And it was just so much fun. It was just the best times ever that we've had. And
the best part too for the students is, it was an elective, but it was an upper division elective. So, at college, you're always looking for upper division electives where you can get, like something not too crazy hard. You get upper level credit for, and so it just like checked off all these boxes, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was so much fun. It was the best times ever, and I don't
know if that's why we got the certification though. I think we were just kind of going through, and
no, we got it because Jamie was getting ready to leave, and he asked us if
Is that why we did it?
Yeah, that's why we wanted to. He said,
I knew we ended up doing it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
So we ended up becoming instructors. We bought all his equipment and everything, and it was just like, we ended up buying this big old compressor. It was just a big thing, when you're doing scuba diving.
You're all in, or you can't really be partially in.
Yeah.
Scuba.
So we ended up with a business called WaterDawgs, DAWGS, and that was our
WaterDawgs.
things. And we made do rags, and they had WaterDawgs in the front,
Oh, I think I have.
and it was really, really, really cool.
I think I might have mine right here.
Okay, and it was really cool. And what we did is we would do initiations here at the house, and it was just nothing crazy. It was just a lot of fun, and they loved it. And then we would put their nickname on there before they got their do-rags. They were going through the initiation. Before I show that,
It's all
before
dusty.
before they go through the initiation, they had to wear like underwear, and we would tie like
Socks.
black socks. So it made them look like dogs. It was so funny, and so they were like,
They were water puppies.
yeah, they were water puppies.
So they had to go through initiation to be WaterDawgs.
So after they finished the initiation, it was just cute. It was just so fun. Nothing crazy, but
Make them like, walking flippers and
yeah.
or fins. If that was
fins.
another nickname for somebody who kept calling the fins
For-
flippers.
Well,
Anyway, we have like a billion stories, but
this one is our favorite because they were our very first two students that we certified and initiated them, and it was our neighbors across the street, which was their kids and her boyfriend. It was Lisa Benegas and Cody. No, Lisa Jax. Lisa Jax and Cody Benegas, and they're married now. So, but at that time they were taking our classes, and Lisa she was always like she was a party animal. So we got her a nickname called.
no, that's not why.
No, what was it?
No, so okay.
Okay, I thought that's what it was. We'll correct it right here.
Well, I mean, the name would imply that, but okay. So during the pool sessions, we would
That's right.
when people would take their masks off, we'd always tell them you cannot put it on top of your head because it's seen as a sign of distress to have your mask up on top of your head. So we would always teach them that if you take your mask, you want to take it off your face, it either goes down to your chin or it's off completely. And we'd say anytime if we catch you with your mask on your head, we'd say you owe us a six-pack. You owe me a six-pack. You owe me a six-pack. I mean, it was just for fun.
Yeah.
A fun way to like remind them without being like, put your mask down. And Lisa just kept doing it because she was a swimmer already. So she was used to putting like her goggles up to her forehead. And so, I mean, it was just like 10 times a pool session. Six-pack, six-pack, six-pack. So we called her Six-Pack Jax, which is really like I think probably the coolest sounding name ever.
The coolest name.
And then Cody kept calling the fins flippers. And we're like, Cody, they're not flippers, they're fins. They're fins. Fins. And he'd be like, hey, flippers, flippers, flippers. So he was Flippers Benegas, and he's like, why does Lisa get the cool name? I'm Flipper.
So he goes, so we go like, why does she have Six-Pack Jacks and why is my name called Flipper and all that? So then like a month later, he said, hey, can I borrow some flippers because I'm doing a report? I go, that's why you have that name Flippers. It's fins. So that's what it was. It was so much fun. We had the best time ever. And
so back to the initiation. So they would go through the initiation and we would have these do-rags made. This is my personal do-rags. These are WaterDawgs, our little logo. And then the nickname on the side. Mine was 100% because I got a perfect score on my instructor exam.
Yeah, like everything else,
I remember the guy that came to like proctor the exam, and he was like, he's grading right there, because we have like a written portion and then we have a skills portion to see, how you teach, how you do the skills and stuff all in the water. And in the written portion, oh gosh, I was so nervous because I was like, wasn't getting it. And then, things finally click, but once they click for me, then I'm good. But, just to get to that point was a lot of work. And, you have a limited time. It's a big investment. We're out in Utah doing our instructor school. After I finished the written portion and turned it in, you kind of wait to see, he grades it right there and gives you your score, if it's pass or, don't pass. And he was like, so how do you think you did? And I was like, oh, I don't know. I was like, I don't know. I hope I did okay. And he goes, you got 100%. He goes, you didn't miss one. And it was like, oh, really?
Yeah.
And I remember he told Jay too, and Jay was like, wow, because Jay knew how much I had like struggled to just kind of get the concepts down and get it to where I understood it well enough to not only know it myself, but to be able to teach it to other people. So I was always really proud of that. But yeah, so yeah, my nickname's 100%.
Yeah. So the cool thing is, if you can see really close, right there, the pause on that was from our lab. That I gave Sue a little puppy. It was a yellow lab. She was so cute, and we called her Beans. And one day she would like did a puddle with her paw or something, and you went and got your camera.
It's her actual paw print, that we converted to a little. It's hard to see, on the camera and everything, but it's actually my Beans' little paw print.
Yeah.
I still miss her. She was my dog.
Yeah. One day we'll tell you more stories about that one. She was such a funny dog.
She was funny.
But anyway, guys, that's
we've
about
kept
it.
you for long enough.
Yeah.
we could just go on for hours about our diving adventures.
Yeah.
So, another video.
But yeah, so that's how we met. And this is why we're doing it inside. The weather is super crazy, and it's cold, and you guys stay warm, especially this weekend. I know it's coming from the East Coast or from where, I don't know where it's coming.
But it's coming from somewhere cold, so stay warm.
Stay warm and cuddle.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. We love you, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.